people's lives are at stake this election, and saying you're apolitical is the same thing as saying you're apathetic toward other people.
Sam Weinberg, a student from Chicago, is the founder of Settle for Biden, an organization dedicated to encouraging the leftmost wing of the Democratic Party to vote for Joe Biden.
Right after Bernie Sanders dropped out in early April, I was having a bit of an internal conversation with myself, wondering whether Biden would be able to defeat Trump. And because I was seeing people online, saying stuff like, "Oh, I'll never vote for Biden. He's a corporate shill. He's a centrist Democrat, whatever." I thought back to this article I had seen in August, I think, of last year, where Jill Biden was interviewed, and she said something like, "Well, at some point, everyone's going to have to just swallow a little bit and settle for Joe."
But you've got to look at who's going to win this election, and maybe you have to swallow a little bit and say, "Okay, I sort of personally like so-and-so better, but your bottom line has to be that we have to beat Trump."
This inspired Sam to create Settle for Biden, which has since amassed over 130,000 Instagram followers and counting.
We're not really in it for the followers. We're in it to spread the message that the stakes of this election are way too high to sit it out. But obviously, followers and likes and reach and all of that reflect how well we're doing in meeting those goals.
The account's following is made up primarily of young voters, many of them who will be voting for the first time. 18 to 23-year-olds actually make up 1/10 of Americans that are eligible to vote. The question is whether these young voters will actually turn out. In 2016, only 46% of voters between 18 and 29 turned out to vote, compared to 71% for voters 65 and older.
My hope sincerely is that people will turn out, and that's what this is all about, really. Whether they will or not remains to be seen, but I'm optimistic that people will realize the severity of the choice that has to be made. To people who are considering not voting, people who don't consider themselves political, everything is political. Daily life has become increasingly politicized now. I mean, with the pandemic, with attacks on the postal service, if you're not getting your mail on time, if you have a loved one who's passed away, that's not just happenstance. That's a result of a bad or malevolent policy decision that was made by the Trump administration.
But what does it say about American politics that young voters feel like they need to settle? Sam has hope that it won't always be this way.
Biden got the most votes in the primary, and the person with the most votes wins. So hopefully, through adopting measures like ranked choice voting and and getting big money out of politics, hopefully people won't have to settle in the future. But this election, the choice is between an average Democrat and a terrifyingly pseudo-fascistic Republican.
Over the course of the primary, Biden has shifted his platform significantly to the left on issues like climate change and healthcare. Still, only time will tell if these shifts will be enough to captivate young voters. Veronica BP, reporting for Election 2020 from Los Angeles.